Yo, what's up? It's your girl Pretty Right, and I'm sitting pretty, starting riots right here on Illinois.
I'm gonna let you finish, but did you tell them to listen to iLLANOiZE radio?
Every Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Well, I was getting to that, but y'all made a point, so I hope y'all tune in.
Do that.
Wow. As you all know, we bring you all the illest guests from around the city and globe. And today, the man Demetrios Layne is in the building.
Yeah, what's happening, family? What's the word? Appreciate y'all. Appreciate the love.
Shit, appreciate the love on you showing up. You was on time. You damn near beat me.
Man.
You sure as hell beat me.
Man, you know, it's about being prompt.
Everybody
I was going to say, I wasn't going to throw it out there, but I was going to throw it out there.
I'm trying not to be a
We was all on time.
person.
Yeah.
We here now. That's what's most important. We here now. We're going to have a great conversation.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, let's kick this thing off, man. I'm happy to be here with y'all.
I mean, how your day starting off so far, you know? The travel, you got here, got some water in your system. How things been for you as of lately?
Things have been smooth, brother. Things have been smooth. I think what everybody knows about me is that I am a damn workaholic. And so my life literally consists of work, and you know, right behind that is more work. But, you know, every now and then I catch a solid weekend like this where it's just like, it's very much so a nice chill weekend. So when you say like, you know, how did the day start? It started off very smooth.
Started off with work.
It started off with work, yep, especially on the brain. But it's a chill day. It's a Saturday. We very much, Chicago catching some decent weather.
Man,
I think we just survived another winter.
Yeah,
you feel me?
Slight work on the winter side.
Yeah, because it was literally snowing yesterday.
I ain't even had to change my tires because them bad boys was almost bald.
Oh.
I mean, I got
So
new
you
tires
survived?
now,
Like,
so
please
I
still
survived.
get
You
new
survived.
tires.
All right.
Survived now. Yeah, I'm good.
But,
I got tires on that out.
Other than that, man, like I'm not gonna say it's summertime shy yet, but it's
Feel like
a
it.
nice little preseason to it. So I'm feeling blessed, brother.
I'm pretty sure you got plans for the summer too, in which we gonna jump into
a whole
as
lot
well.
of living young.
You know, now you say you're a workaholic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find time for yourself to actually just chill the fuck out, relax, and breathe?
What? Let the people that's closest to me tell you, hell no. But I think personally, I guess my chill out is it looks different, it feels different, described by me.
Mm-hmm.
My chill out is solitude, isolation.
Okay.
Leave me alone. That's my chill, you know what I'm saying? Like, not necessarily need to go away or doesn't necessarily need to get into too many vices. I think I just love some good old isolation and me time. And so if I can accomplish that, that is me breaking away from the cycle of me working all the time.
I like that because I'm the same way, man.
That's my answer, is isolation, a little solitude.
I'm low-key an introvert, but nobody believes me.
Nobody believes you on that?
Hell no.
I mean, look at what you do. You know, you have to give your voice to the people on a daily.
That's why
basis.
nobody
Like,
believes
right.
me. They be like,
So,
hey, you're extroverted ass. But I mean,
how about you, Riot? You got to give your voice to people too. You introvert, a
I think I'm a little bit of both.
little bit. So ambivert. See, that's
Yeah,
where I
I'm
was going with it.
definitely
I believe I'm an ambivert.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think I kind of have to have this like fair mix of both, and kind of goes back to like what we do for a living, on top of just who we are. You know, who we are.
What led you to be so driven, Demetrios? Like, what led you to be such a workaholic in the first place?
You know something? I'm gonna blame my mother for that. Shout out to my mom. My mom, I think if I was to really give a good, thorough answer to that question, I think I kind of inherited from my mother. I kind of seen my mom work her ass off forever and ever. You know, almost to this day, she's a retired woman now, and very much so living out the fruits of her labor. But yeah, kind of watching my mother growing up and seeing her work ethic, it very much so got pushed into me. And so I'm kind of like carrying that torch, kind of seeing what she did. And I don't know, it's very much so kind of just running through me now.
What about Pops?
So the thing about my pops, so I didn't really get that much time with my pops, right?
Okay.
So my pops, he left me at the age of 10. And the thing about it though is that even in the time that he was with me, I so recall his involvement. And so I can't really speak to his work acumen as far as like what his work ethic looked like. I can tell you The man was a manager of a CTA train once upon a time, and he was gone on the road, and you know, but yeah, I would say very much so throughout the family, it's a working family.
It's embedded. It's hereditary.
Family. It's a working family, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm finna get your business just a
little bit.
Just a little bit.
I know it was coming from you. Here we go.
You know, I gotta listen. Sometimes you gotta listen to ask the best question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say your dad left you, is that in the sense of like he passed away, or just in the sense of like he left your life?
Oh, passed away.
Okay.
Passed away.
Because I thought he left.
Good question.
It can go either way in our community. So I think that really helps inform my next question. So how do you feel like growing up without your dad, like him actually passing away, and it's not a situation where he just walked out of your life? How do you feel that actually shaped your work ethic and the reason that you're a workaholic today?
Oh, great question. How do I think that shaped me? Again, I think I'm gonna have to kind of resort back to kind of watching what I did see. So what I did witness is not to be that cliche sounding individual, but again, kind of very much so watch that strong black queen kind of take on the ranks of the missing father not being in the household so much. Mm-hmm. And again, it's not to say that he wasn't in the household. You know, it's unfortunate that he passed, but he was very much so involved with my life in the time that he was here. But I think to give a good answer, it's very much so given to what I did have, right? So what I did have is, yes, I very much so had a working mother. My uncles, shout out to my uncles. So if I was to say, you know, who were those male figures that I had to look up to, it was very much so my uncles, my older brother. And then there's the community, right? I very much so believe, like, you know, it takes that village to raise that child. And I don't know if I can share that with y'all in the room, but I very much so grew up with a village around me. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's the best way to answer that question. Yeah.
Do you feel like, okay, because you are a man and I'm not, clearly. Mm-hmm. That's a weird way to start the question. But do you feel like work ethic is something that varies by gender, right? So you mentioned just having your mom and she was like very work driven. Yeah. Do you ever feel like the stuff that you did learn from the men in your life, like you're glad that they were there? Because it's like, oh, maybe my mom couldn't have taught me that because she's a woman. Absolutely. I do feel there is, so I so truly believe there are certain things that a woman can't teach a man. There's certain things that a man can't teach a woman. Mm-hmm. And but what I will not take away any bit of credit, of course, from my mother. Of course. Because, no, we never want to do that. You know, I kind of got to say, like, you know, a queen raised this king, you know, and so that's kind of how I look at it. But again, it's very much so those other figures that were in my life, those other men, my uncles, mm-hmm. My older brother, my older homies that were the guys, you know, those were the ones that, you know, when I kind of had to be shaped up by a man. That's kind of what I was getting at, yeah. Yeah, mm-hmm. Absolutely. They very much so played their role. And, you know, again, kind of giving more credit to my mother, she had to raise two men at that. So she very much so had to develop her iron fist with us, for sure. And we respected it. What? Respected the hell out of it. I don't know if it sounded like that. I was that sounded like a karate kick. I would hope she wasn't in the crib doing that to y'all. I got a little brother, so I done seen them get a little punch to the chest a couple times. You bucked up at the wrong. You forgot who your mama was.
Trust and believe. Mama put that belt to ass.
Mama wasn't nothing to play with. All right, we know this.
Yeah,
we know this.
Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Right, and I need you to do one sminy. Yo, what's up? It's your girl, Pretty Riot, and I just need you to do one small favor for me. Head on over to your app store, search iLLANOiZE. Hit the first thing that pops up because we the one and only, and download the iLLANOiZE app. You working so much, especially when you have a job, and then you have a passion, and then you got a side hustle. Like, it's so easy to get burnt out. So how do you, outside of isolation, because don't tell me that, you just told me that.
Man,
but like,
yeah.
how do you keep yourself from getting burnt out?
Take a damn break, right? So really, it just comes down to that mental aspect of sometimes, and I think unfortunately for me, and I think this is what I need to start getting out of, is I work till I crash. And that is so damn not
That's
healthy.
dangerous.
That's dangerous, exactly. It's not healthy. But unfortunately, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I kind of saw something earlier, and it's pretty much like, what are you willing to sacrifice? And many entrepreneurs, it's like you can sacrifice time or you can sacrifice your mental. Some people choose that time aspect in the sense of like, I'm finna take my time back. I'm finna give myself a break. I'm finna literally, take a load off. Others choose the mental. They sacrifice the mental. And I think, I'm gonna say, I don't wanna say unfortunately, but it's unfortunate sometimes I do sacrifice my own mental to continue chasing what I believe in. And yeah, it's unfortunate. So I really don't have a great answer for you, Destiny, because I think I'm still trying to figure out what I need to do to kind of take those type of breaks. But ultimately, I kind of keep working until I crash. And then that's when I'm all of a sudden like, okay, let me take a break. And then everybody around me is like, you're crazy. You should have been took that break. But yeah, I don't have a good answer.
Do you feel like sacrificing your well-being is actually worth it?
No.
Hey, I appreciate the transparency. I appreciate the but no, because
no,
like I really want to have them type of conversations with creatives more often.
Because burnout is real, man.
It's real, but let's really think about it. Let's really think about some of our faves. Let's really think about who we're studying. Let's think about who we want to become, right? And let's start thinking about the stories that they have and the stories that we very much so have taken in and inherited. And we know for damn sure they have sacrificed a lot of mental. We know it. It's the obvious, right? We also know that those faves that we're looking at, we also kind of look to see like, okay, well, what methods are y'all coming up with to get past every threshold that y'all make? Again, we are very much so following and admire very successful people in this world right now. And we know for a fact that they sacrifice their mental. So now it's very much so just the education of yourself as far as maybe what is your own tolerance. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's kind of some things that I'm starting to figure out is like, you know what? Maybe my workaholism, I have a high tolerance for it right now. And whereas the other person that's looking at my tolerance, same thing we would look at, with drinking. It's like, dang, like, hold on, how did you make it to 10 shots and I can only get past 3, right? It's kind of like the same thing when it comes to our work ethic.
I mean,
that's how I look at it.
When it comes to even the creatives you mentioned, how everybody, sacrifice their mental state at times. But for you, what led you to even realize like, damn, I'm starting to burn out and I'm starting to crash out right now? Like what actually came, is there an example you can give for creators that may not even know what, if they're facing burnout?
Yeah, when things start not to make sense, you know what I'm saying? When things are starting to all of a sudden not make sense anymore, because again, like us creators, like it's our dream, right? It's our vision. So all of a sudden when our vision is starting to become a tad bit blurry to us, that's your first sign of a little bit of crash out, because again, when you are the creative, everyone is looking at you to help fulfill that vision and kind of keep that journey going along. So if what's so crazy about that question, Biko, is because I'm literally sitting right next to Live Young's chief of staff, Kari, and there was this point in time I had, and it was so crazy. This can be a nice little moment here, but I once upon a time told my team I didn't know how to lead them, right? So this is a nice little behind the scenes story between me and my organization. Very much so met a point of crashing, right? Didn't know what my next step was, didn't know what the next move I should make with the business, with the company, with the brand. And I literally remember telling my team, I don't know how to lead y'all right now. And that was a real low moment. But at the same time, personally, that was me dealing with a burnout.
But I also think something to say about that is it takes a lot of ego. I mean, not it takes a lot of
Yeah, I
ego,
know
but
you're
it takes
talking
for you
about,
to put your ego to the side
Side.
to be able to even admit that to people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think that like, I don't know, that's kind of commendable. I'm not a part of the team, but I can appreciate you for being able to do that because I think that is a quality that makes a good leader.
Yeah.
And like being that we are talking about leadership, so if you get to a point where you're saying, hey, I don't know how to lead you guys, what steps did you take from that point to be able to become a better leader? Because obviously, you know, you feel like you have something good on your hands and you want to do right by that. So steps and changes need to happen. So what did you
Yeah.
do?
So the first step, going back to my number one answer, isolation, right? So that was the one time where I kind of had to separate from my team, and I can't wait for you all to have your conversation with D93 next week because out of everybody that was on my team, he was the one individual that obviously maintained the communication with me, right? Very much so kind of had to separate from my team. One, kind of don't want to be in y'all faces, and I really don't know what I'm doing in front of y'all right now. Two, kind of started just thinking about other stuff, right? So kind of started getting back to what else in life do I have going on. So at the end of the day, I very much so do have a 9-to-5 that I need to take care of. I'm a basketball official, right? So very much so have a passion for sports. Love giving back. And so every now and then when I'm able to, love to interact with youth, with the teenagers and whatnot, kind of see what I can do. So what it was, Destiny, is like, I had to kind of get back to like, man, who is Demetrious? Because I'm doing a little bit too much CEO. And again, I didn't hit a wall and I don't know what to do with CEO right now. So let me kind of start figuring out like, all right, what's some other things that Demetrious can get into? And I'll say that took like a solid, it probably took me a full summer's worth of time, right? That usually
Ain't no rush. Got to take the
it's
time.
A full summer's worth of time. And then kind of getting out of that spell, I had a member on my team at the time, and she kind of helped me get my vision back on track because at the end of the day, there's this whole nother layer to live young, and this has to do with college universities across the nation. And when she was able to kind of get me out of that spell, she helped me clear up the vision as to what we were going to go into for the future. So not only for Chicago, which that's kind of where we are right now, but like she helped me kind of revisit like, nah, this was the purpose of Live Young. So I think that's what it was. I had to kind of take some time away, get back to what my purpose and kind of revisit like, you know what, this is what Live Young is all about.
I got a 2-part question for you before we go to break.
Yeah.
Because we on the topic of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you describe your leadership style? And most importantly, how has it contributed to like Live Young success?
Yeah, so leadership styles, that's a broad question because you can go so many places with it. But I would say one of my leadership styles is it's a very pragmatic approach. I'm a very practical person. I like to very much so lead by way of like, what's a better way to put this? So in a practical leadership manner, I like to lead by way of if it makes sense, let's go with it, right? I'm very much so trusting of my team. My team comes to me with their visions, their ideas, and I match with what I have going on. And so what's going on here, I guess my approach is I'm trying to find like this great word to put on it.
Pragmatic was, hey, like you said.
Is very much so a pragmatic approach, right? I am not the know-it-all. I'm just simply the visionary. And for any individual that feels like they can apply to that vision, I'm here to hear it out. Because again, what I am building it's not even for me. It's really for the people that I'm meant to serve. So I think a part of my leadership is taking in information to build the best platform that I can.
And what I love how you brought that up, visionary, because you don't big yourself on, I'm CEO. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You the visionary
Correct.
behind Live Young, and I love that, man. Yo, do us a favor and yourself a favor by hitting that subscribe button. Make sure to tap that notification bell as well so you can stay updated. Now let's get to the video. Previous to the break, we were talking about, you know, some burnout, talked about some crash outs, talked about leadership, but we got to get into Live Young, man.
Please,
let's
do it.
In general, can you share a bit of background on what even inspired you to, you know, pretty much start Live Young?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the story very much so starts back in 2013 on the campus of Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my fellow Salukis. Huh. That being said,
Hey, my sister was a Saluki.
You know what I'm saying? Yes,
So-
she was, but, you know, moving forward, you know what I'm saying, with the Live Young vision. So, this is how this happens. Just, it kind of starts off with your general entrepreneurship story. There's a problem and somebody wants to solve it, right? And I was the lucky person that wanted to solve this, what I felt was an issue on my campus, right? And so that issue that I saw was like, man, like, it's a little dry over here. Like, we're bored, you know what I'm saying? We see y'all kind of bringing quote unquote entertainment to the campus, but it ain't hitting. It's not hitting how we needed to hit and how we wanted to hit. So I'm that guy that kind of like, you know what, I want to do something about it. So this idea comes to my head where I'm just like, man, like, what if there could be this business that dedicated its service to universities by way of delivering live music concerts to it? And so that's the initial spark to where Live Young begins on a college campus. And then what happens is that time passes, people graduate, move back home to the city of Chicago. Distance happens between myself and the university, and so the vision kind of starts fading away as far as the initial purpose. Mm-hmm. But now we kind of redeveloped our purpose for our city, our home city, and kind of put a little bit more extra sauce in it as to like what more can we be doing other than entertainment. And so now what's going on is like at the end of the day, we founded this brand on a college campus for college campuses. So why don't we implement education? So education is very much so a component of the company. And then after that is very much so community. And so you mix in music, you mix in community, with a little dab of education, and we feel like we have kind of created this nice solid formula that we want to be able to give to the people.
Love it, man. I wanna speak on your vision a little bit as well, because like I said earlier, visionary for Live Young. Mm-hmm. So I want to take us like to the future just a little bit.
Yeah.
So how do you see your current vision revolutionizing the music industry now? Because y'all done put some shows on, bro. My last show that you all had at goddamn City Winery.
Yeah, talk about it.
What's the neat?
We gonna get there. We gonna talk about it just a little bit. But the vision, right?
Yeah.
So the question is like, so ultimately how I feel like I'm going to revolutionize the music industry is simply by way of creating the new landscape of what live music performances look like and where. And I'm going to put another emphasis on the where, because we're very much so making this happen out of the city of Chicago. And yeah, I'm gonna take my cliche shots at the other entertainment hubs, because I feel some type of way that Chicago hasn't became an entertainment and music hub. So the vision that I have for the future and how I'm going to revolutionize it is simply by way of expanding the live music scene, by way of coming onto college campuses and using those venues and being able to kind of break music to those fans sitting there that probably wouldn't have a chance because, you know, there's other reasons why that college student might not be able to make it to a major show. Mm-hmm. So Live Young ultimately wants to bring major shows to them. So if you can really think about it, right, anybody can think of like their major university, right? For me, it's Southern Illinois University. For others, it might be U of I. It might be NIU, Indiana State, right? We can go anywhere you want to go with it. But the next thing I would ask is like, okay, on that campus, are you going to see an arena? Probably so. Mm-hmm. Are you going to see a stadium? Probably so. And are you going to see a theater? Probably so. And so when you think about your major cities, Chicago, do we have a major arena? We got a couple of them, right?
Several.
Right. Do we have a major stadium? right? We know exactly where that's at. We might get another one. You never know, right?
Yeah.
And do we have theaters here in our major city? And that is exactly where you distribute these live concerts. So what the vision that I have is I want to be able to distribute them to university campuses, use those venues, open up a new market, and allow new fans to be able to experience that situation.
I love how everything is planned out, right? And this just dawned on me. Well, it's been dawned on me. We brothers. We African American brothers. We
Indeed.
black. That's
Damn right.
you know, and it's challenging to be a brother, to have an outlet, platform, organization, company, and you put you put the vision to the paper, you put the pen to the pad, you come up with all these plans, and then you face these challenges. And a lot of the challenges could be because of our skin color. It could be because of the audience we bring. But you all have been consistently climbing those challenges. But some people don't even know what those challenges even are. Can you break down some of the challenges that Live Young has faced, or you personally have faced that you've learned from, that finally got you all to become a cornerstone?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I appreciate the acknowledgement of of that witnessing of the growth. But I think the number one challenge is and there's many challenges that I can tap on. But let's kind of start here at the basis, right? The audience, right? Just the simple building of audience. And I think just like any other business, any other entrepreneur, they're going to go through the challenge of building their audience, right? For us, very much so an uphill climb, right? Because, and this is what I talk to my team about all the time, at the end of the day, what we're selling is nothing of tangibility, right? And what I mean by that is that me and D93, we have this conversation all the time, is like, what are we selling, right? Are we selling a product? Are we selling a service? What are we actually doing, right? We're selling a service, ultimately. And the thing about selling a service is you kind of have to do twice the amount of work to get people to trust it. You see what I'm saying? Whereas when you have this tangible product, you kind of get a little bit, you get to that answer a little bit quicker. Like, does this work for me? Does this not? When it comes to that service, right, there's a few more elements added to that. You know, one, can I just trust you to buy a ticket, right? Then two, can you trust us to show up to the event? Three, after making it to the event, you know, do you now trust us to entertain you with what we're going to present? I feel like, and love Chicago to death, but man, when I tell you Chicago and the building of audience in Chicago is sometimes the most,
Yeah, it's tough.
It's tough.
We got a tough
It's
crowd.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I would go with it. That's where I would go.
I have a question.
What's up?
Do you feel like you're selling a service, or are you selling an experience?
It's a great question. It's definitely the experience, right? The service is to the artist, though, right? Doing all of that behind the scenes work and whatnot. So there is that, but then obviously to the consumers of the artist, very much so selling the experience. So Live Young kind of have to play its hand in both. How do we make sure that we create the best experience for the consumers, but at the same time, we're very much so servicing our artists, in particular our Chicago artists that's up and coming, because that's very much so an internal element to what we do too.
And you got to service the venue.
And the venue. So yes.
So, because when you was breaking down how going through, you was like, 1, you got to do this. 2, I was thinking about 0, because 0 should be getting a venue to trust and really take you on board and be like, all right, we gonna let you put together this event.
Because I told you there was multiple challenges.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just went the audience route. We got venue challenges, we got funding challenges.
I want the listeners to understand the real challenges behind the scene you know, we go through to even be able to bring an experience.
You know, I'll kind of call this out. You know, and I'm calling it out because we've been called out for it. But I'll tell you this, like, one of the challenges was, man, can Live Young get into another venue, right? Like, we very much so have created a great reputation and rapport with Promontory. The issue was that was the only space we were using, right? Talk about a learning lesson. I'm thinking like, hey, you know, we have a great venue, prominent venue, very much so for the culture. The people should love to come here all the time. Big mistake, right? Big major mistake as far as on my end being an event producer, because a part of, again, every entrepreneur have to keep their product fresh, right? Keep it new. And for me, what I learned is like that's a part of keeping my thing new. It's like, hey, not only do the people want to experience something impromptu, but here we are. Now we're about to create this new experience out of Bottom Lounge, and man, we're very excited about that.
I gotta pause you there because for those of you that don't know, for those of you that's watching, it is not easy booking certain venues, and Bottom Lounge is a venue that is not easy to book in a hip hop event. They do hip hop, but not a lot. So for Bottom Lounge to even be like, hell yeah, give you the green light, my brother. That's a big deal. That's not an easy venue to fill as well. A lot of people can't fill Bottom Lounge because of the space, a huge space.
It is.
But I feel like what you all did with City Winery, because a lot of people can't even get in City Winery.
Yeah.
And I mean the atmosphere. I mean the audience from older to young. Y'all brought everybody out, and I just want to say
shout out to Sanit. Sanit brought everybody out.
Hey,
Live Young,
man.
Live Young.
Shout out, man. Let me get some Sanit loaded. Let me get some music.
And that's another thing that I really wanted to, and I'm putting emphasis on that because that's me very much so giving the credit back to the artist, right? The artist is responsible for bringing out that audience. Live Young is responsible for, again, that behind the production aspect. And yeah, we're responsible for making sure that their show is being seen, it's visible, people are knowing about it and hearing about it. But how the relationship and how the partnership works is we're relying on the artists to bring out their audience, and they're relying on us to make sure that we're maintaining that infrastructure for them.
So before I tap into this, Sanit, what's the excitement like for the team being able to put together an experience at the Bottom Lounge?
I think I'm doing my typical job of stressing my team out like I always do. But I think the excitement is very much so there for the simple fact of like, Live Young is very much so about to break into a new space. We're about to create this new rapport. We're excited to bring new and more shows to this new space. So I think my team has like this slight bit of excitement. I have more of it though.
I mean, before we let people know the date.
Yep.
The time.
Yep.
Give
the full details. The full detail. All right, so check it out. So first and foremost, right? Again, CEO Layne here, and I'm the event producer, right? The main person that and I can't wait for y'all conversation is going to be D93 because the name of the show is D93 and the Fun Friends, and we're going to be featuring artists such as Shy, Mike Lowry Baby, Paige Ellis. It's going to be at Bottom Lounge Saturday, March 22nd. You can find your tickets available at the Bottom Lounge website, the Live Young Presents social media page, the CEO Layne social media page, D93 social media page. It's everywhere. And then ultimately, due to this conversation, this interview, you can even find your link right here at iLLANOiZE Radio as well.
Yes, sir. And that was your promo. We spinning
feel
that thing like I come out shoot my brother. Look, y'all don't go nowhere. Demetrios Layne is in the building.
Everybody is calling me on air today. I really want to answer this so bad. I'm just finna answer it. Hold on. Sorry, Demetrios.
Give him a warning.
Hey friend, I'm on air and you keep calling me, so I'm gonna call you back, okay? All right. I ain't never done that. I'm usually very professional.
I thought she was gonna be like,
but today, I don't know what it is today. And people have been blowing up my phone like I don't be doing the same thing every Saturday. But anyways, Demetrios, thank you for that background information on Live Young. I do appreciate that because although I was there, I ain't gonna say I never quite knew what it was. But I also was in college. I ain't never think to ask.
True enough.
I was just,
he was discovering stuff.
Yeah.
Figuring stuff out.
We was just making shit happen. But now that you have given us the background information on Live Young, you talked about some events that you have coming up. What can we expect to see from you and for Live Young? Like, what is the lasting impact that you want Live Young to have on the city?
Oh, so okay, I'm gonna give you a real answer here, right? Because again, I think this real answer is what I feel will be like my destiny.
No pun intended.
I don't.
Get you a name that can be used in a sentence.
No pun intended. But this is what I so truly feel. I want to be, and I'm kind of putting it out there. I want to be responsible for why Chicago is known for a music industry. I think that is what the last thing, and so mind you, to do things of this nature, the routes that are usually taken is record labels, record publishing companies, management situations. But for me, I kind of created this unique path where I want to produce this live music platform company. And I want to base it in Chicago. And because I'm based in Chicago, who is my first access is going to be Chicago artists and our locals and our, and our underground. And so not only do I want to be the champion of why more Chicago artists are found and can break it to mainstream, but essentially, like, the last thing that I want to have happen for my career within this entrepreneurship journey is I want, for some type of reason, people to be like, man, Chicago all of a sudden has a music industry because of Live Young.
Now, what do you feel is going to take for things to get there? You know what I'm saying? To make that lasting impression and have Chicago, stand out more on the music scene.
Man, can I be honest with you? I think it's going to take a little bit of luck, right? That's kind of like the hope of the hope that the universe will line up to the vision and to the mission and to the purpose that I've set out. So there's that. So a little bit of luck, and again, just more assertiveness in my drive and my vision. Right. Eventually, because that industry isn't here. I'm going to have to be the person to have to go out and kind of have to start creating those networks, shaking those hands, and trying to see how I could potentially bring it to Chicago, right? And what I mean by bring it to Chicago, man, I'm gonna give it to you straightforward and no chase. It's the funding, right? Mm-hmm. Let's really just talk about what it really is, right? In order to create an industry, it has to be funded, and by all means, Chicago is known for what it's going to be known for as far as the different industries that does thrive here. But as I was kind of mentioning earlier, the hubs of entertainment and music is, as we know it, New York, LA, and even Atlanta. And even Atlanta, because I did some research when it comes down to their city, even Atlanta once upon a time was in the Chicago state as far as like the unknowns and the overlooked. And man, how can we get that here? Mm-hmm. Atlanta very much so did it for themselves, and I kind of want to be one of the pioneers that can do it for Chicago.
I will say, I think there is an industry. There is an industry here.
Yeah.
What I see is the infrastructure.
Okay.
The infrastructure is not being held correctly. You know what I'm saying?
I love how
our
you
infrastructure needs change.
Yep.
And I feel like a lot of the people that, like, I'm gonna just say it, people with seniority. I don't even want to say gatekeepers, but fuck it.
It's a good word. It's a good word.
It's a good word. Our gatekeepers here.
It's a good word.
It is.
Like, that's what they're doing.
That is the word.
And I'll even say, because it's not even a shot. Because here's the thing: in order to be gatekeeping, it's like the first.
You actually have to be holding something back too. Mm-hmm. But I think that ultimately they kind of are though. You know, like, it may not be something that we see and it feels super duper impactful, but ultimately it is, because if it wasn't, we as a city would be much further.
Absolutely.
So it's
absolutely.
like,
go ahead.
It's like, it's just like a withholding of resources and withholding of putting you in the right rooms with people for the sake of control.
See,
And I'm gonna piggyback right off of what she just said, because let's really think about it, right? Let's in a theoretical speaking way, right? How many new superstars are created out of these other cities?
yeah, a lot.
How many superstars are created? Like every year, right now in the month of March, New York, LA, and Atlanta is going to have some new artists ready to put in our face by April, May, June.
Even Memphis.
Even the Memphis, right?
Yeah.
The argument that I want to make is, where's our superstars, right? And here's the thing. There's levels to it, right? Because like you just said, yes, there's an industry here, because at the end of the day, there is music in Chicago. There's very much so a live music scene. You can go here. But how do we start building the infrastructure that creates the next superstar? Because again, I think amongst the three of us, we can count on within our, what would that be? We got within our hands here, we can count the superstars that come from our city. Whereas I think you'll need more bodies and hands to count the superstars that come out of those other markets. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to pioneer. How do we create more stars coming out of our city? And, I'll kind of take it there in other genre lanes.
And that's actually what I was going to say. I think that the problem is Chicago too stuck on drill.
Yep.
And that's no shade. Because drill had its era. Drill did a lot. I mean, drill changed the world. Like, we could be honest. Like, what that generation did, I'm never gonna knock them. But I think that like everything has every era runs its course.
Yep.
Everything has its time, and I think that the sounds that are coming out of Chicago right now does not align with that. And I think that the outside world, the industry per se that are not here, they come to Chicago looking for that sound. So it's like we still pushing this tired ass sound. I'm so sorry. Like, I love my city, but I'm tired of it.
I'm with you.
I'm fucking 30 now. I've been listening to this shit since I was 15. So while there are new artists coming up making, they modernizing and stuff like that, but like there's so much other talent in the city that don't have a drill sound. You know what I'm saying? That's not even drilled. It may be R&B, it may be something alternative, it may be some lyrical miracle shit, but it's like the outside world is not giving those artists a chance,
And specifically talking about our city. It's like, where are those chances and opportunities for the artists in our city, right? Because here's the thing. I think that, again, every one of those other cities have so many spokespersons for it. I'm here to be a spokesperson for Chicago. And mind you, I am not an artist, right? I am not a producer. I'm an events producer. But again, the vision aspect of it is like, I do feel like every movement needs the voice to it. And I do feel like I'm the right person
like that
to be a voice in speaking up for the talent, the artists, the music coming out of this city.
See, and what it is too, how you spoke on the eras, it's still those same people from those eras that's still in the positions that need change.
That's what I'm saying. They withholding resources. That's what I mean by withholding resources, essentially, because you got the same people.
And that goes for, because we never said who the they is.
Correct.
So if you feel personally attacked, Pretty Riot never gave a fuck. But look at yourself in the mirror then. You know what I'm saying? If you feel attacked by us just having a conversation about what we see as a community, what we see being in this industry, what we feel like need to be changed, then look at yourself in the mirror before you try to tweak with us, please.
And I mean, to be honest, again, I'll double down on what you just said. There's nothing to be offended for.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're calling out a problem, right? We're starting there. We're calling out a problem. We're trying to solve it without creating the animosity of
creating a bigger problem.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, there's the issue is that we know that there is very much so music talent. We've witnessed it. You know what? I'll drop some names. We've witnessed it out of Sanit. We've witnessed it out of Chanel True. We've witnessed it out of Lajay. We're witnessing right now out of Joel Q. Like, I can keep coming with some of these names that's coming out of our city, but it's just like
so many.
I also want for the industry to recognize that and make one of those names pop, versus waiting for the next Lil whatever that comes out with the next drill, and all of a sudden it's just an automatic tag to, okay, Chicago, great, another drill artist, great. Okay, let's blow that up. Where it's just like that.
Chicago
Damn,
needs to
hold on.
release the YN image.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Because we still
Yeah.
got the OYNs in position.
He's definitely in position still.
We got the YNs and the OYNs.
But then, because I'll also take it to this extent, right? When we talking about the old YNs that are still in position, right? Again, like what gave them that position back in 2012, 2011? I think that's the era we calling out right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those individuals within that era, and again, unfortunately, maybe fortunately, they got the keys to the gates to the industry coming from Chicago, and unfortunately, the only thing that the industry was willing to accept, and she just called it out, was everything of our drill. And it's just like, damn, y'all, like, again, what about our hip hop? Again, I just named some names. What about our R&B?
R&B,
What about our pop?
Man, shit.
You know what I'm saying?
What about our rock? Rock used to be,
And Chicago is a big rock
it's a
city.
Big
also.
rock city. I
Yeah.
mean, some of the number one state is rock. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, our rock industry, like, man, a lot has changed.
And you want to talk about challenges, right? I know for a fact one of my challenges is going to be who is this dude persona, right? Referring to me, right? Because I'm very much so the new fresh face kid with the new voice, right? Every now and then I like to say I'm like the Obama of the music industry when it comes to Chicago, right? Because again, I am the who is that guy coming out of nowhere talking about our industry. It's like, no, I am that guy. And I'm talking about this industry and I want to be a part of it, and Live Young is going to be my vehicle that drives me in.
I like it. So, I know we talking about, the gatekeepers and things of that nature, but I want to actually bring some spotlight
For sure.
to some of your role models and influences that helped you learn to get over the hump and build your own. Is there any Chicago influences or role models on the business side that has influenced you at all?
Absolutely.
And you can also do, wherever. I just want to hear if you have any Chicago.
Man, first and foremost, I got to call out my main mentor, Mark Hubbard. If you don't know him, if you do know him, former Grammy president of the Chicago chapter region of the Grammys. So former president of that. However, he is the CEO and founder of Next Showcase.
Next Showcase, yep.
Next Showcase, and again, very much so a dominant platform within our city of Chicago. Very much so on the same mission to help amplify and highlight Chicago artistry. So that's where I would start, right? Very much so been under his wing. Unfortunately, time has kind of allowed some separation, but I do know, like, at any time, if I need to reach back out to my mentor, like, again, he's only a call away. Some other individuals, as far as within, I don't have too many mentors. That's probably my main one. That's my main
big
one.
Because he's been in the industry for a minute.
Absolutely. And again, like, it can go, as far as our relationship, it can go anywhere from me looking at him as my mentor, to like my uncle. It can be turned into that type of relationship, or even like that father figure, right? Like Mark has displayed a lot of that for me.
That's deep.
For sure, especially on a local who can I touch mentorship level. That's where I would go with that. But then obviously those that I can't touch and I wish that I could be, closer to and, get that type of inspiration from. I got to shout out obviously Hove. I think that's a cliche answer, but very much so my answer.
Business mind right there, man. Billionaire and creative billionaires.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and then I'm going to put out a name. And here's the thing, I may or may not get the opportunity to meet this person, but because of the line of work that I do, he was that person that I looked up. It was like, you know what? Let me see if I can kind of follow you through your videos and whatnot. But I'm gonna shout out the CEO and president of Live Nation, and so his name is Michael Rapino. For those who don't know, and again, he is very much so the example of what I want to become.
We gotta plug the event again, and I got one last question for
sure,
you. But
for
plug
sure.
the event, man. Let people know what's going down March 22nd at Bottom Lounge, because that is a big deal. I haven't been to Bottom Lounge for a hip hop event since Film Dot. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. Talk about
Packed that bad boy out too. That was the last time I was there.
Wow.
So now I'm returning on March 22nd. But let people know what they can expect.
Indeed.
Also, let people know like how they can support Live Young's mission as well.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, again, CEO Layne checking in live. We have a big show coming up, presented by my great organization, Live Young. It's happening Saturday, March 22nd, and it's going down at Bottom Lounge. You can find your tickets pretty much on the Bottom Lounge website. Live Young presents social medias, CEO Layne social media, liveyoungent.com. But most importantly, this platform right here that you're checking in right here, you could also find your tickets at iLLANOiZE Radio as well. But most importantly, the way you can support Live Young is by simply purchasing a ticket, showing up, enjoying the experiences, and giving us a follow-up of that experience so that we can learn not only from your perspective of the experience, but how we can grow to make that experience better for the future. And I don't know, I think it would be wrong of me not to say, make sure you come and live young at our events. You feel me? Live young.
My last question of the day. What was the young lady what was her name again?
This was Kari.
Kari. Shout out Kari.
Shout out Kari.
Wait, what's the young lady?
This is Jasmine.
Jasmine. Shout out Kari. Shout out Jasmine of Live Young. Gotta ask you this, Demetrious.
What's the word?
What does legacy mean to you, and what impact do you hope to leave behind for future generations?
That's a loaded ass question for me, at least.
That's why I made it the last one.
So the first part was, what does legacy mean to me?
What does legacy mean to Demetrious?
What legacy means to Demetrious is what legacy means to Demetrious is I think you stumped me on this one, Biko, because I really want to give you a real good, thorough answer, and
what comes to mind, brother? Like when you think of where you see Live Young 5, 10, 50, 100 years down the line, what comes to mind? What legacy are you looking to leave behind, brother?
So legacy means leaving behind that footprint, right? And so for me, I look at it like this. What's so crazy, something, I know how I can generate this answer and kind of wrap it up real good for you. A legacy is what my grandmother did for my family, right? And this is where I'm gonna go with this. My grandmother, very much so, my family's filled with matriarchs, right? So when it comes to my grandmother, remember I was talking about the strength of my mother earlier, but let me kind of dib on my grandmother. When it comes to my grandmother's the reason why my family is even in America today. An immigrant woman from the country of Panama had her vision to pick up, leave her country, come to America, establish that American dream, right? I am now the 2 generations later, her grandson, whom through watching his mother and her work ethic has now established his own work ethic, his own way of, this is how I'm going to carry on the legacy that my grandmother brought to this country, right? And mind you, like, I could probably become anything, and my grandmother and my mother would be proud of me. But then to further get to the answer of your question is, the legacy that I want to leave behind is something that will help others grow, right? I think that's really what I'm doing here. I'm really developing the next best service, and it'll cater to a niche community, which is the musicians and artists and fans of that nature. But if that is my contribution to the world, I think that is what I'm going to be happy with. You feel me? So my legacy is simply going to be continuing the footprints that my mother, both my mother and my grandmother created, and kind of very much so passing it on to the next generations beyond me within the music industry.